Hello, everybody. This is Nolan here, and today I just want to show you some weird things that I've figured out. And it's not an intentional game feature, and technically it's not a game feature since it's from a mod. However, this mod is not intended to do that. So let's go straight into it. Okay, so let's do some little things here. Let me show you what this mod actually is. So this mod adds 4 little items, and they're pretty good, and they'll do some very nice things. This one is just a useful thing. It can detect heat and gives off an activation signal when it does. And I could probably show you how some of these things work. Okay, so let me show you what a few of these things are. First, we have this. Sends an activation signal when at certain temperatures. So it gets too hot, and there you go. Gonna melt this guy real quick. And there you go. This makes power from heat, as you can see. Makes a whole lot of power. And in fact, it makes so much power here, and this is very important for later. As you can see, it makes okay. It makes more power than the industrial generator. That is very important because that means that it actually also has no limit to its power at all. The more hotter it is, it just makes it into power. This next object just basically cools down really quickly. That's its entire spiel. This one is pretty cool. Basically, the hotter it is, the brighter of a lamp it is. So you can see that this is 2,000 degrees. And if it gets cold, opposite effect happens. And it, becomes cold. And this is where things get very interesting. And it's not with the light at all, but it's all has to do with this. And the fact that it has no limit at all. Right, so this thing can power things pretty easily. And there's one other factor that makes this incredibly overpowered, and that is this heat gun, right? It's just a normal heat gun, and it heats things up, right? We can find that out, but what's more importantly about that is if we get two things, and then we get one of them, and we hook it up to a industrial generator. Then we can see it in real time. So, basically, what happens is when this is at full power, we turn them on. As you can see, this one's already reached above our thermometer, and this one hasn't even reached a tenth. Well, it just barely reached like a tenth. This thing's at a temperature of very hot, and this thing's at a temperature of not as hot. Definitely not. Only 20,000 or 30,000. This one is extremely hot. And that is where things get very interesting. Because what if we take something and we get one of these, and then we take one of these, and then what if we hook this up to that? Now, as you can see very quickly, these things reach extreme heat because it's a positive feedback loop. And it's very hot, which is what's making it blast over the place, which we'll look into later. Now, because of that, that means that we can do some interesting things by making things extremely hot to a extremely hot point. And since it just keeps giving them more and more power, since normally this game has a limit of power, which is the industrial generator, since this thing doesn't have that limit, as long as you have the right temperature, if we build like a little core, little thing like this, what we can do is we can get one of these, throw it in the middle, and then we can hook it up with power to all of these pieces. And then what this ends up doing is some very dangerous things. As these will just keep going. So if we test that out, as you can see, they're now these ones are all saying negative, and this one's saying no answer. Or, not no answer, not a number. Not a number, degrees Celsius, and then negative Celsius. This is very, very strange. And, if we, and it is in fact very cold there, and I can't remember if Nan is hot. Nan is in fact hot. Or, Nan is something. This poor guy is dead. No, he's not, but now he is. And, Nan doesn't last for too long, because if we turn it off, it goes all back to here, and I believe if we turn it back on, okay, it goes back to Nan, but Nan is, Nan, but what's more interesting is the fact that these are cold now. So you see they can cool off our humans, we can cryogenically freeze them by just having them touch it. Now we have a human, and now we can snap that human in half if he's really cold, or just kill him. But what we can do is, these are in fact, as you can see, they're all still the same. So if we, like, get rid of all these pieces of these, if we disconnect it all, I can take the core out. And as you can see, I can just take the core out. Probably shouldn't have just taken the core out, but it's fine, since we're not going to really put it back in. Well, we will later, but for different reasons. Now, this core, same temperature. Actually, the core, it got a little bit hot for a second while cooling him down, but it just goes back to cold. It's a bit weird, and we can try out a few things here. Fire heat gun at it, and it stays cold. What if we fire heat gun at it for a long time? As you can see, it seems like it could potentially be getting hotter, but actually just stops right there and then goes back up. So, as you can see, this is in fact infinitely cold and extremely difficult to get uncold, and I'm not even sure it ever could get uncold. And you notice they're all electrical, just like how if you get an object and you get let's just do like a normal generator. If we hook them together and we turn this on, notice how it's electrical, and for a little bit afterwards it's still electrical as it loses its power. I believe that this zap effect is the exact same thing. It's so much electricity though, because of a positive feedback loop to what is likely the integer limit for whatever this is. Didn't work, if there even is an integer limit for this game. If there's not, it wouldn't be a very good job at explaining why things went to no, not a number, because it just got so hot. And now, it's infinitely cold, and I think that when things become not a number, it just defaults them to cold. So, there you go. Now, what's also interesting is if we rip out one of these, and we just take this out, this piece of the core, this gun, is strange now, because this heat gun no longer heats things. It now freezes things, which is very interesting. This human is now become a rock, easy to rip apart. And what's even more interesting is if we get two thermometers, Now, if we get our two thermometers here in the setup like this, and we slow time down to 5%, you'll notice that as these turn on, that this is Nan, and this is cold. Then if we... And then this is also cold. Or at least according to the thermometer it is. And, strangely, I actually did not expect this. Because I've done previous tests with this. And I've had some very interesting results. Let's see what happens if we set these object temperatures. Don't flip the object. If we set them both to 10,000 degrees, this is very hot, and then we turn this on, and we turn it off. This is at a negative beforehand, I believe. So if we go, let's go very hot. Let's turn this on, let's turn it off, and as you can see, this is still very hot and this is colder. So this is, in fact, if it's moving, faster than this. If it's not, I guess this is faster, which is very odd, very, very weird, and it's pretty. It's like that. Then we've got another interesting thing that we can do with these cores is that they have very, very strange effects on these lights I talked about earlier. You know, the lights that when hot, you know, make a lot of light. Turns out that those also don't have a limit to how bright they can get. So if things get very, very hot, it gets very, very bright. And then you can see some very strange lighting texture things happen. So let's get another core out. Now this is not the last core that we'll be building. We'll be building one more for another thing I found out. And maybe we'll find out some more stuff, but this, let's turn on one of these cores. And, you know, break it. These ones haven't broken yet. They're like half broken. This is very weird. They're going between the two at extremely fast pace. I've never even seen this before. It's full of surprises, this thing. Basically, since we have that, it's very interesting happens when we drop a light on it. Being that it gets very bright very quickly. And as you can see, since we dropped this in the active core, it has also broken this just like those. And now we have just a police light. And I'm not sure why it can't decide whether it's super hot or very cold. I don't know if we can like set the temperature maybe to say you're 0 degrees. And no, you cannot. This is stuck like that. And it gets very hot while touching it. So hot that it can no longer. It just becomes a completely bright light. That's how hot it is. As you can see, it says 9 degrees Celsius, and it is just a bright cube. Oh, and I just sent this thing flying. It's flying basically like a firework now. Hit the ceiling. Let's slow things down here. Take a look at what's going on. That's not very good. We haven't even gotten to the part where I talk about those yet. The game's getting ahead of me. It is like a kind of meteorite. I wonder what happens if we put a group of humans beneath it. Let's see. Let's place some humans a little too high, higher than they're supposed to be. Okay. A few more humans. Here comes our meteor. Oh no, that is a big lag spike. And it is gone. But its temperature still remains, and it's become a big line. Oh, here's the heat lights, and is this where the core is? No, this is where the light is, and this is a human who's dying over. Oh, that's a human inside of the core. So, oh, okay. Well, I guess let's bring us straight into our next thing. I was gonna do this by making a core that's kind of cluttered. As you can see, it's on, and I guess the lasers are pointing outside now. It's very laggy though. It's got a little too much stuff in it. and unfortunately, it's not quite good enough because it still moves around. It's too free floating. So let's make one that's not free floating. The way we do that is we get ourselves a hello. This is Nolan from the future, and I'm here to tell you that I was in fact not able to recreate this less free floating version that I was talking about. Basically, that one has so much friction that it can't really move, and the core is all broken, a bit like what you saw there. So I spent a lot of time trying to recreate it, and it never ends up working. And it's unfortunate because that design really was able to disintegrate humans because whatever touched it got flung to the other side of the map at an extremely high velocity. But other than that, I'm just gonna skip ahead to when something extra interesting happens that's even more interesting than this free floating version by a whole lot. And I'm not sure how this happens or why this exists or how this happens. I mean, this mod is not designed to do anything bad, and the only thing this mod really allows us as players to have is infinite electricity. Since I guess infinite heat also already exists, but this just easier infinite heat and infinite electricity, and it just totally breaks things. So I hope you guys enjoy this random thing. Now we can turn it on. Break apart and collapses into a laser, and I don't know. It's a cooling laser. Oh, and it's a slaughter laser. Oh no! Let's get rid of that human. I just put a human on there, and the human just. Oh, that is a yowzers. So does anything, even this giant robot from some random mod, that also. Yep, it teleports. Everything teleports. We get a balloon. We pull the. Oh, if we touch anything, does it just teleport? Yes. So if I get an anchor out and I touch it, and if I touch this anchor, maybe it just grab it in slow mo. Oh no, maybe that anchor is too far away. Let's try get an anchor over here. Anchor is fine. What if we get an anchor? Oh, oh! I think we just had an anchor. Oh, oh. What just happened? Um, did the map just spontaneously change? Uh, there's this. This is the original floor. Oh, that just went through. Does this floor not have a? Oh, is this floor no longer floor? Did I just figure out how to make the floor become no longer floor? There's so much that this single mod designed just to give you a few more freedoms with power does, and then there's fine. What if we do over the edge? So let me pause the game because, whew, okay. What about humans over the edge? Let's put it back in a regular motion. Just oh man, the frame rate is incredibly bad. But seems like to me that humans, in fact, okay, so we successfully changed the map's floor. This is where the old floor existed with the laser. Let's see, is there any rhyme or reason? There's a visual center somewhere over here, I guess. And I think I can see. Here's the core, which has collapsed in the weirdest way. That the core has seemingly collapsed into everything being in one unison spot. And here's this anchor I was talking about. It teleported in there. This anchor is actually what seemingly caused it all. And it's all just here in this one spot. This is so weird. And I don't know what to do. I was not able to fully show you the core disintegrating humans or the core that manages to gain the power of no more physics. And by that I mean it just has so much friction that it literally can't move because it has too much friction to move. So it just floats in the air, doing nothing because it can't. Since gravity doesn't work because it's too much friction. And I know it's not very cool. I wasn't able to see that, but I figured out. I was hoping that I didn't figure out everything about it, and well, I did not figure out everything about it because clearly there's things like the core collapsing all into one object, and everything that gets too close to the core when you pick it up also turns into that one object. That apparently can occasionally turn the entire uh, floor into, well, just changes the floor because now out of our nice cube, there's you know, a new floor up here that just works for some reason. You just have a actual working floor that has been extended by an extreme amount, and it's like, why and wow, how? And yeah, I was happy that I actually found something new, but now I am incredibly confused about what the game mentioned has this possible. How is there more floor? How did it get teleported up? Does anybody know how this happened? Unfortunately, I've been recording for way too long, and it's probably too much stuff. Maybe I should do multiple parts, something about breaking the universe. First part about friction, and the second part about this. I guess I'm not fully sure. I broke the game, and I'm just gonna have to leave the game now. And at least I documented it. But why and how did this happen? And man, it is really laggy. Maybe we can destroy it. That's the last thing I'll try. I'll try to destroy this monster. Okay, get ready. Oh, let's just rip. Let's rip some stuff apart and see. Oh, it's back. Okay. Yeah, I think it's impossible to break that. I think that thing might be just everything binds together. Not everything, just everything around it binds together. Is that's yep, yep, yep. I'll see you guys later. This was a very informative experiment.